Radio Hounds Tube Radio Restorations channel. This is John from Indiana, and we're going to have another week. We had last week, we started on the Philco cabinet. We're going to be working on the Philco cabinet again. We're going to be starting the actual stripping on the main body of the cabinet, and then I still got a little bit more patching to do on the front panel of that cabinet. So we're going to try to get all that done this week, and I think we'll be able to do that just fine. I don't see any obstacles to that. You're going to see my way of doing it. Now, I will tell you this, you know, if you are, we had one of our viewers already picked up on it. The patching that you saw me do on these previous video, the patching I learned from John from Arkansas, and that's who I developed this channel in honor of, because John was my mentor and he taught me a lot on his channel, and so I learned how to do that on his channel, and I'm just continuing that on, and that's what I do, how I do my patching as far as putting veneer patches in. But the stripping part, he did a different kind of stripper than I use. I use a different stripper, and you'll see that on today's video. All right, I hope you enjoyed today. Thank you. Hi, and welcome to today's video. We're going to be starting on the front part of this today. I'm going to go ahead and get these pieces glued and ready. That way, while they're drying, we can be working on stripping the main cabinet. So we got a little bit of work to do down here. You can see it where it's bubbled up. And I'm having a real hard time in this light to even tell what you're seeing. But we got bubbles right along the edge right here. I got to get all this glued down, and then wherever there's pieces that are sticking up above that line right there, we're going to have to try to patch those. So we got to do that, and then we got these two little patches to do right here. And so I'm going to try to do those two little patches last, because I have to clamp down on that. Well, I don't know, I might do them first. And I'm trying to find me a decent piece of veneer to use on that. A lot of this veneer I got right here is real chippy, and anyway, I don't want it to chip out of there. And actually, I don't even like any of this. Maybe that piece. All right. Okay. Sorry, I had to get off of there for a second, but I'm back, and I'm going to try to cut these two little pieces that go right here. Now, what I'm going to do, because of this just hanging off the edge all the way around anyway, is I'm just going to cut a piece and put it in there, and then I can trim it off with my knife later. So I'm going to just get a couple pieces pulled out here, and I'm going to trim off a nice straight edge on there. I'm just going to make it a little bit longer than it needs to be, so where it hangs off all sides. And I think I might have enough to do both sides right here. All right, so now I'm going to glue this on here, and I'll get it glued on and dried, and then I can trim around that and make it fit. All right, we're going to stick this clamp through here and make sure we're up against it good. Have to be real careful. I think I'm going to have to use the other kind of clamp, but I don't know if they'll fit down in there. That's my problem. Let's take this back out. We'll have to see if I can get that other clamp to fit. If not, it might just have to be. Adding a little more glue on there. Be right back. All right, I got you back on camera now. Trying to get these two little pieces glued on here is just so small, it makes it really hard. This is the other side of that. I tried to clamp that, and the clamps are just knocking it off. So I'm just going to let it ride like that, and I think those will stay on anyway. There's not that much pressure against it. And I'm just going to start working on this bottom part. Okay, somewhere the wind got my, oh, here it is, my thing. All right, so what we're going to do first is we're going to try to get into some of this right here that is needing glued down. And so I'm going to have to get up underneath here and try to get glue pressured up into that. There's a spot right here and 3 or 4 spots right here. And I'm hoping I can get my piece up underneath here. And if not, we're going to have to come up with a plan B. Actually, my plan B right here is cut right below that. This veneer is really brittle right here. And I might end up having to replace all this right here. It looks pretty bad. I don't want to, but I think I'm going to have to. Maybe I can get up under it. I know I'm not talking much on this one, but there's really not. I mean, what I'm trying to do is get a slice where I can get that piece up under here, but I don't think I don't know, it's just so brittle. And it's really connected down on the bottom, but it's not connected up in the middle there. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do about all this. I can get in most of that, I just can't get in this part right here. All right. My mind's made up. I'm gonna go ahead and trim this edge out. I don't want to, but I got to. It's just too bad, too far gone. So I'm gonna come down to right here and cut across and cut down at an angle here. And we're just gonna take all that out. I don't want to. Just trying not to have to do that. And since I'm doing that, I might as well just cut right on over to here. That's how bad it is all the way up into there. And I already knew I was going to have to replace this stuff, so I'll just do this too. I'm hoping you guys are seeing this. Am I? All right, I'm trying this again. I end up having to cut this bottom out because it's not working. And then I just knocked my little piece off here too. I'm having more trouble on the front of this than I did on any of the other parts. I think I'm going to cut me another piece for that. It's just not doing well. Make this piece a little bit bigger and maybe that'll hold. All right, there we go. Now, hopefully I got you in the shot now, and I'm going to be trimming down here on this piece right here. So I'm going to have to make one patch. I'm going to try to make one patch do this. Since this stuff is so far gone. But there's pieces of it that are stuck pretty good. Makes it even more difficult. I tried to put the camera off to the side. That way you could see what I was doing. Maybe if I moved it a little more to this side, maybe that would help. All right. That way I'm still not blocking the shot somewhere. I almost got everything off of this side. Just got a couple more little pieces. All right, so I'm just trying to get this edge out here. It's funny when you're trying to video all those things that happen. Just like that guy going by on that motorcycle. I don't know if you picked that up, but he was sure proud of his pipes. There's parts of this that's stuck really good, and then there's parts of it that's loose as a goose. All right, there's getting close to the piece that we need. I got a little bit of gluing right there, and I think I can get up underneath this one. I'm sure hoping. There's a little bit of bubble right there. The rest of this looks pretty good. I can just get underneath that edge right there, the width of my thing. Should be good. I think I got it. Okay. I'm going to stick a little bit of glue right here. We'll clamp that down first. Get all the way up in there as far as I can. That'll take that little air bubble out of there. All right, good. Now, we'll get that clamped down. Next thing we're going to do is get our pattern made for this right here. Make sure I still got you in the shot. Get our pattern made. And then we'll try to cut us a piece of veneer to fit in that hole right there. All right, guys, and there's our pattern right there. I'm just going to cut that out and get that thing ready. I'm going to cut it a little bit long on this bottom side, that way it can hang off a little bit. Just remember to cut to the inside of that line. All right, there's that, and we want to cut a little bit below this line right here. We want to make a mental note that our grain is running perpendicular to this, so we got to find a piece that has the grain running the right way. Got to be a piece wide enough too. Unless we want to do it in two pieces, we might have to. I don't know if I got a piece big enough. This could be somewhat of a problem. Got pieces that are long enough but not wide enough. So it looks like I might have to use this piece right here, but I'm just going to have to do it in two pieces. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to cut that right below our pattern right here. We're going to cut it right below that hole. We'll just make a splice right there. All right, so now we're going to put our pattern on here. I got to put something on top of this other pattern or it's going to blow away. The wind again is doing its stupid stuff right now. This bottom cut's not that critical because you're going to be sanding that off anyway. So, but I'm afraid we're going to lose our tip, which we just did. The wind just got it. I'm not really worried too much about that because you can see how bad the wind's blowing. It's blowing everything everywhere. Because it's down below where your trim goes on. So if I can get this piece in place, I think we'll be fine. All right, so let's move this over and let's see if how well that fits. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that fits really good. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get this glued on and then we'll glue our next piece in. All right, I'm just running the glue here. Okay. All right, I'll be right back. I didn't know what to do with my paper towel. All right, I'm back. I'm trying to get this lined up now. I've had jets come over, airplanes come over, and motorcycles driving like crazy. And all that is trying to interrupt our video today, but oh well, we're just going to keep on pushing forward. This one has a little gap right there on that end, but I don't think it's going to hurt anything because it's going to be below where the trim is, so I don't think we have to even think about that one. So I'm gonna get these things in place here now. I put the more of the gap down here on this end. All right, that piece is in place. Now I just got to cut out this second piece right here. And hopefully I can get that out of this section right here. I'm sure hoping. All right, what I did there is I just got the two live edges, and this is a critical edge right here because it's got to fit in that hole. So I got to get it exact. I think that went pretty good. This one is not that critical. I just got to get it to cut across there without breaking everybody. All right. And hopefully if I did these two sides right, we'll be good. Okay, that's got a little bit to take off the top of this one. And I got a perfect fit now. So I'm going to get the glue on the back of this one. And we're going to glue this sucker up and hopefully clamp it down and call it a day on this front panel. And then we'll have to come back to it when everybody dries and do a little bit of sanding and cleaning, just like we did on the main part of the cabinet. So make sure you get all these edges really good. Okay. All right, I got all the clamps in place. I'm going to turn this one just a little bit more. We're going to set this off the side. We got the two little pieces up here that we're going to cut around once they dry really good. Then we got all that edge in there, and we'll let it dry real good. So we're going to come back to this in just a second. All right, now I got the main cabinet up here. Remember we patched these couple little patches in here last time, so I'm going to trim these edges off and then get that sanded off. And then we'll be ready, I think, to start our stripping process. I got to do a little bit of sanding on these spots I'm cutting off here. But basically, you just go around the edge now and push down on that. And I let it dry for a week. That way, hopefully nothing will break out of here. It looks like it's trying, though. If I can get it close enough, I can sand it. Okay, there's that one. I can get the other two without breaking something. I'm doing that one now. You want to scar it. That way it don't break back into itself. I don't know if you can see that on camera. I'm scarring right along that line right there. And that way it don't get into that, hopefully. Like if you try to break that down, it don't pull the grain out of there too. It'll try. Just gotta keep cutting and let it work its way through there before you start pushing any heavy pressure on it. Once you get it flat with the surface, it's easy to work with then. There you go. A little piece, rest that I can get with sandpaper. I got one more right here on this edge, and that's a real hard one to get to, but I'm going to try. And there I got it. Let's make sure we don't have anything else. I can't remember what else we left on here. All right, we got that pretty good. Now I just want to do a little bit of sanding, knock any of the glue off of here. Get you back up in the camera here. I mean, in the picture. Maybe I can pull this up. Now what I'm doing is I'm just where I had to fix that one little spot on top. I got a little piece of glue stuck there. Hopefully I can get that off. Whatever I don't get, I'll finish up after I get done stripping. I'm just trying to get anything that will hang up. And you want to go along this edge right here, make sure there's nothing that's going to hang. Okay, then I want to sand those two little spots that we had on the front here. Or three little spots, I should say. This spot right here, you just kind of lip it over the edge. So we can get that edge straight. And then all I'm doing is sanding that little piece, that little chip. That way it gets down close to flush with that other one. I keep bumping the camera again. I'll get the rest of that when I lightly sand. Okay, same way here. I'm going to do this other one right here. Probably about 20-mile-an-hour wind again today. Unreal. There's that one. One more little spot right here. I'm getting that. Oops, I'm on the wrong line there. Okay, we're going to call that. All right, so now next thing we're going to do is I'm going to introduce you to my stripper. And a lot of people say bad things about this stripper, but I like it. Okay, what I use is citrus strip, and if you use it right, you will not have a problem with it. A lot of people do it wrong, and that's why they don't like it. I'm going to try to hopefully show you the right way to do it. All right, so let me get set up here, and then I'll show you. All right, first thing is you just get you a cheap brush. This brush, when you do this citrus strip, you can wash this brush out and use it 100 times. I've used this on tons of chassis, and you pay like $1 or $2 for that brush, and it don't hurt a thing. All right, and then I don't take on a whole lot at one time. I'm going to take on this side. Okay. All right, that ought to be enough to get me all the way around. And what I do is I just start brushing this on. I start at the top center and then work my way around. I don't want to run a bunch off this back because I got this tag, but I am going to go right up to the tag on the back of this. I'm not up in this camera shot. Ugh. I can't remember to move that camera around. Anyway, I'm doing the back side too, but I'm trying to stay away from that Philco label because I'm trying to protect that. And basically, I'm just putting a coat about that heavy right there on it. And this stuff that I'm dropping down here, I'll use on this bottom and side right here. So it ain't gonna hurt anything. All right. And I'm gonna have to put you on hold for a minute. I got a customer coming. Sorry about the interruption. I had a customer come up. All right, this is about the look that you want on there. I got that. I just did this one left. Well, it'll be the right side if you're facing it. Left side to me right now. And anyway, this will be. You leave it on there. The brush. This stuff is non-toxic, so you can wash it out with soap, with water. I mean, and you can keep reusing that brush. You can put your hands in it. It don't hurt anything at all. It's very, very tame. All right, so what you're doing here now is you are waiting, and I'll show you the look that you get. It starts getting a little bit of a crackle look, and what people do wrong is they'll leave this on too long. And if you leave it on too long, it'll kind of get a gummy feeling to it and dry. It's horrible. It don't even take your stuff off. But if you pull it right when you start seeing that crackling, it'll look like you ever use crackle paint where you put one thing on and put another thing on and it makes your paint crackle look like an old antique looking. Well, that's what this starts looking like. It gives that crackly look. And when you start seeing that crackly look, and see right now it's going to be hard for me because the wind is blowing so hard out here that it's doing a drying finish on here and making that trying to harden up too, which I don't want that to happen. But I have to have it out here where the sun can get to it a little bit because you do want it to cure. But basically you got to get it till it comes to that crackle finish. And so what we're going to do is we're going to pause here and I'll come back when this thing is ready to start doing the second part of this. All right, we're coming back to this now, and you can kind of start seeing that little bit of a crackly look in here. So we're getting real close to this, and I'm gonna show you what I do next with it. You do need to have a paper towel or so on your hand. That way you can be prepared to do what's next. I always use I use one of these, just a cheap plastic scraper. And what, like I say, what people make mistake of is they leave it past this point. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but it has this look to it. I don't know how to explain, but you'll get used to that. And this back's probably going to take a couple fixings on it, but that stuff is caked on there. Okay. What we want to do now, had my new veneer curl up on me. Have to fix that. All you do is just take this and you roll it off like that, and then wipe it onto your paper towel, and you just get a big glob on there. And there's your finish coming off right there. I don't know why people say this don't work good, because it does. I've used it on all kinds of these cabinets. And I just keep a trash can nearby and throw these away every so often. And get a fresh one. I'll show you the second part that people make mistake on. So let's get the rest of this off first. And I can feel already it took us straight down to the base. You can use any kind of paper towel on this, it don't matter. I'm only using these because I got them cheap. They had a big sale on them. All right, then what you want to do is get as much of this off as you can, because you don't want it to get where that sticks back on there. That's what happens to a lot of people, is they do that. And you want to get as much of this off to where you see those brown streaks. You will make that all gone. And like I say, I'm already seeing stuff I still need to fix gluing wise, but you can always fix a lot of that stuff after you do this initial strip. It's doesn't hurt a thing to do it after the fact. Okay, you got that. You can see I'm getting most of those brown streaks off. There's a little bit right there. Now on this video today, I'm just going to do this one side because I want to show you the difference after it dries out. But when you get most of this off, then you're going to do the next step, and this is what other people don't do, and that's why they end up hating this citrus strip, because this stuff, if you let it dry on here, it will dry up like glue, and you don't want that. Okay, so you want to get all that off of there. All right, so you got worst of that off, and now I'm going to go and I'll be right back. I'm going to get another towel wet. All right, what I'm doing now is I'm washing it, and you want to get that stripper off of there. And you wash it, and then you dry it. All right, the other thing you can do that needs to be done is I carry these little tools, and I get up in those crevices, because you want to get all that out of there too. All right, so let me get that tool handy. Use a little dental tool that has a little bit of a white blade on it there. And what I'm doing is getting up in these edges, pulling any of that black stuff out of there that it released, but it didn't come out of there because of my thing. It's in the corners and stuff, so I try to get all that out of there. Run down these corners and dig it out. All right, I'm gonna dry this. And this will show up the little spots that are still left on there. That still has any kind of finish left on. I don't know if you can see down at the bottom where I'm at. Right here, I'm getting down in this crack. There's a big crack right there, and it has stuff down in it. So I'm filling that. I'm gonna get me, before we actually finish this thing up, I'm gonna get me a little bit of wood filler and fill down in that hole. There's a good sized hole down there. And all I'm doing is pulling out this black stuff out of the corners. The stripper took it off, but it's just not pulling it out of there. You have to manually get it pulled out. All right, give me one more paper towel and finish drying this. Got all that off the edge right there. Got all that off there. Got a little bit out front here that rolled around on the corner on me. Anything else I want to take off will come off when I do my light sand on this. Okay, I'll be right back. I gotta go get something. When I was at the Dayton Ham Bench, I picked up these little things here. You can suck glue up in them, and then you got a little tight spot. I got a little piece of veneer that didn't get glued down properly over here, so I'm gonna suck some glue up in there and squeeze it up underneath there and put a clamp back on that. We also got another spot right here that somehow it's the veneer is glued to itself, but the substrate is loose down there, so I got to get that fixed too. So let me suck some glue up here. Hopefully I can suck some glue up in this thing. I'm going to take the top off, turn it sideways. These are actually made for this. This is not a needle syringe. This is just a regular syringe. And just clean off the outside edge of it. And now we got a syringe with glue. All right. So I don't know. Let me make sure you're back up here now with me. Okay, you'll see me go right underneath. There's just a little tiny piece that has worked its way out. And I hate to do it, but I gotta get my glasses on. I can't see what I'm doing. Okay. All right, I shot glue up in there. Hopefully I got some in there. I'm gonna get me a little more glue just in case. I tried to hit it pretty hard so it'd shoot back in there, but you don't know. All right, I used my tool too to help push that back in. All right, let's get this cleaned off and see what we can do here. I see glue coming out the back side, so that's a good sign, right? All right, let me get my other clamp on here. Everything I touch fights me. All right, we'll let that settle down right there. And I think we're almost at a quitting point for today. Because that's why I did half of this. So you can see the difference between where that stuff worked and where it didn't. You'll actually see that it does work. And we're down to wood right here. I'm doing one more wipe down, just make sure I didn't leave nothing on there. Sometimes you can leave stuff up in these corners and not know it. Probably not back down where I need to be. I'm going along these grooves right here and making sure I got everything pulled out. And as you can see, this is the kind of stuff that I'm peeling out of there. It's just stripped stuff that never came off when I wiped it. All right, we got most of that out of there. That's all ready for sanding. Everything here is ready for sanding. So I'm going to get this little sliver here cleaned up. And we'll put a clamp on that, and I think we'll call it a day. What it is the substrate has released itself from the rest of the cabinet here. So what I'm going to do is shove a bunch up in there. Has nothing to do with being on the veneer. It has to do with being on the where it meets the wood back here on the substrate. And actually, it goes up quite a ways there unglued. I didn't even see that earlier. So we're going to fix this right now. And that's the good thing about these cabinets. As long as you fix it before you actually put the final finish on, you can keep working on it and doing whatever you want to do to it. You know, there's no hurry, so you can test it, and if you still see stuff loose, come back at it. All right, let's see if we can clamp that sucker down now. That definitely was definitely an issue. I think I see one more little spot. All right, let's get a clamp on this. I got a couple clamps left, so I'm going to use them. This might take a couple gluings because it's fighting me. It's because I can't really clamp it to that. Let me see if I can do something else here. I'm going to lay this thing down. See where you're at in the picture. I'm trying to clamp right here, but it's wanting to slide when it's vertical like that. So I'm going to try to do it this way and see if it'll let me do it that way. It just keeps wanting to slide down that ramp. All right, I think I got it there. Just clean off that little bit of glue. When this thing dries out, you'll see what I'm talking about. It'll show the difference on it. I got one more clamp, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this other side over here because it's got similar type of problem, but it's on down in here. I don't know. Can you see that? I don't know if you can or not. Tip it up just a little bit. there's like a gap right here, and it's between this back panel and the front. It's not a very deep one, but hey, if I can get it clamped together a little bit better, I will. I'm actually going to do that like that and then push it down in. It's only about a 1/4 inch deep. Okay, so I'm going to take that along there and push it down in there and then add more. All right, we're going to let that alone now. I'm going to put this last clamp on there and try to hold that together. Yeah, that'll work. Let's squeeze that out nicely. All right. I know it doesn't show huge results today, but you will see good results, and we will do the other half of this and the front on the next video. You may see some results, but I don't want to tip this thing up. You can tell the lightness of this side of the cabinet. We're down to the solid wood. All the finish is gone on this side here. Now I still got a little more to do back there because I just put a light coat on there. But we just got to get this back piece here to get glued to itself. And then I'm not real happy with what's going on up there in that patch we did on top. And if we get where we don't like it, we're going to take it out and put a new patch in. But that's the nice thing about this is you're the one in charge. You can do what you want. All right, so there's that. We're going to have to let that other front panel dry for, I don't want to even be cutting on those little pieces I put in there. I'll go get it real quick though. Okay, see, we're going to be cutting on the edges of those pieces, that piece and that piece, but you don't want to be cutting on that until that cures really solid onto the frame. And then also I got all this that I did down here, and I'm sure we'll be able to sand that down and make that look pretty decent there. I don't see that being a problem. If it is, we'll do something else. But we're going to let all this dry right here. I'm going to push this thing back into place. Got to get it back far enough I can get my garage door shut. And like I say, we're going to call this one. When you're doing these glue things, make sure you clean that out because you don't want to let that dry in there because these things are handy and it's nice to have. So you want to make sure you run water through that and get that all cleaned up. Don't forget to do that. All right. Thank you guys for watching today. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. We made really good progress today. I like working on the cabinets. I'm not an expert by any means, don't want to be. I'd rather do the electrical stuff like this behind me, but it's part of the process. And if you want to make a cabinet, either you got to send it off to one of these guys and pay a lot of money, or do it yourself, and I do it myself. So anyway, next week we'll continue on with the stripping process and maybe get into a little bit of the sanding and show you how I do that part of it. And you know, over the next 2 or 3 weeks, we'll probably get this cabinet ready for staining, and then I put lacquer on them. So we'll get into that. I hope you tell your friends about this channel, and it's getting some excitement, and I get excited every day when I watch 2 or 3 more viewers pop on and start subscribing. So make sure you hit the bell symbol, and that'll help you get notified when we have a new video up. I usually put a video up on Saturday, one up on Sunday. All right, thank you very much. I just want to close out all my videos with this right here. This is my my motto, and it's going to be our channel motto from now on. It's sometimes you win and sometimes you learn. We don't ever want to lose. We want to learn from every mistake we made. I thank you guys for watching.